It is time again for this topic. In this video, I want to talk about one of the most common and biggest macro mistakes you can do in Pokemon Unite. In case you know what macro is, macro describes on how you play around the map. So how you take experience, how you rotate from jungle to top to bot, that is macro. Compared to micro, micro is how you control your character, how you use your moves, and how you know you hit them, and how well you combine all your moves together. So in this game again, it's about macro. It's about the biggest macro mistake. So the biggest mistake people do when pretty much playing the map. That's what it means. And that is still, again, breaking goals. But not just breaking goals, it goes to the extreme of doing the worst thing ever, which is breaking both goals way too early. In case you don't know, I'm going to explain it again. What does breaking a goal do? And actually, it doesn't really get you much. You actually kind of lose out of it by breaking a goal. The things you gain, first I'm going to talk about the things you gain. You gain more vision control, right? The enemies are a bit more unsafe, walking up to objectives. So you have better Regieleki, positioning, or better bottom path Regi positioning. That's what it allows. It allows the enemies to, not be as safe pushing out and going for these objectives, as they have no longer a Flux Storm behind them and no shield, from the goal. So they're much more unsafe walking up. But what it actually does as well is it spawns wild Pokemon on their side of the map. So suddenly you have nothing to farm and you have to go to the enemy side of the map most of the time to actually start gaining experience, because you despawn all the Indies and all the bunnies that are neutral, right? That are usually on the path. They all despawn and they spawn on the right side. In safe, pretty much safe, environment as well, where the enemies don't have a lot of issues taking it down, unless you go very aggressive. But if you go aggressive while being ahead in experience, then it also gets quite risky, as you suddenly have to overextend so much. And if you have a level experience, which probably you have after breaking goals, you just very likely to give over comeback experience. But you have to keep being aggressive, or the enemies will literally be the same level in late game team fights, and suddenly you can just straight up lose it very, very easily. Usually, so we break the first goal right here at 725, which already quite early in general in the game. You can see I'm already quite aggressive in the enemy central area. And now the biggest mistake is that people break bot goal, don't secure the bottom Regi, and then walk all the way to top to also destroy the top path goal. And this is the biggest mistake anyone can do, and that Unite players still do. Now we break the second goal right here any moment now. It's gonna get also broken, I think a bit later. And suddenly our entire team is not even here. So if the enemies also get this objective now, suddenly they actually get experience out of this. They get 5 NEDs, they get the global experience from Registeel, and they can maybe even still make it to top path. So in case you break bot goal, you also have to secure the Regi on bot. Don't just rotate away. Make sure you get it 100%. I think we end up getting it, doesn't matter what, but it could have backfired very much. Make sure you secure it first before rotating away. And now the game, you might think, oh, it looks quite good. We get both objectives, really. Regieleki does walk in as well. But overall, like, the game doesn't actually walk in. Right now, the game is going to get very, very difficult, as we have to start overextending onto the enemy side to get experience, right? So what do we have left? We have 4 Baltoys left and 2 buffs on our side. Altarias are spawning on their side as well, so if we have to want to go for Altaria experience, we also have to walk towards the enemy side. They get 5 Indies, and they get also another Baltoy that spawns in their central area. So the enemies get a huge swing suddenly in wild Pokemon, right? They get more Altarias, they get 5 Indies, they get 2 more Baltoys on their side. This is the only thing we still have, is this Baltoy up here, kinda, and the ones on the safe side. So in general, the enemies, we have to now be aggressive, because if we do nothing, then the enemies are just going to farm. So we have to stay going right here, which can result into us giving over comeback experience. And that's one of the worst things that can happen. But we kind of have to, right? If we're passive now, we're going to slowly get out experienced. And that's just exactly what's going to happen. So right now, we have a terrible team fight, trying to look for something, because we have to. If we just AFK, again, the enemies will slowly just get ahead in experience. Now 4 of us go down. We have a terrible team fight that goes very, very bad. And suddenly, the game is looking very, very bad. If they even get some points in right here, suddenly the game is on the enemy side this fast. And it can happen faster. And this is what just happens if you break goals too early. Because if you don't break both goals, like in general, I think it's good to break one, either to secure bot objective. Because again, breaking a goal gives you advantage over the entire lane, which means you have an easier time going for the Regi, or you just break top and you go for a Regieleki push, right? Those are the two things. But don't break bot goal, then don't instantly secure the Reggie, go top and break top goal. That is just like one of the worst plays I feel like you can do in this entire game. And this is what loses people games. And still, when I lose games, right, or when I'm losing early game a lot, you will just see me farming the NDDs on the left and right side over and over and over again until I'm suddenly level 13, 14 at Rayquaza. We have been losing the entire game. If I play Sandra, I even get to level 15 somehow, even though they broke both goals. And suddenly I can carry the game in the final team fight because levels is what matters in the end. Of course, the points are nice, but in the end, the game gets decided by who wins the final team fight, as Rayquaza is very overpowered. Of course, if you can somehow smash the entire enemy team and break on the right side the goals, maybe make them even surrender, of course, that would be amazing, right? But let's be honest, how often does it happen where you break both first goals and then also break the second goals after doing this, right? It doesn't really happen all too often. Of course, it does happen. It can win you games, but I think it also will throw you a lot of games away. Again, we go for the Regieleki though, but this time our Dragonite dies up there. They get points in, and I still want to be aggressive now because the enemies are just coming back into the game pretty much for free. They have to still defend the Regieleki, so I kind of want to be a bit aggressive, which is quite scary against the Blastoise. We get jump head stunned on quite deep. My team does secure the Reggie on bot path at least, but that's not enough. Just getting that is just not really something that wins us the game necessarily anymore. We still have to be aggressive, but Argon, this was more of my mistake. I would definitely like say so. Definitely didn't have to be this aggressive, but I thought, you know, the enemies have to defend top at the same time from the Regieleki, which they didn't even have to. Like, they didn't have to defend top because we were on bot. Now Dragonite went down. Now we have 2 more people overextending. We lose a few more members, and, you know, the game from just breaking both goals. I think the problem is that, you know, League of Legends or something, breaking, or like Mobile Legends or whatever, breaking a tower gives you global gold or something, right? It gives you something. In Unite, the person who scores gets experience, but that's about it, right? It's just one person getting experience, and that's also where it ends. So it's not, I think people just think breaking a goal, right? It gives us maybe global experience or something, which it doesn't. I feel like it should though. I feel like breaking a goal would be a good change as well for Unite. If breaking a goal would give global experience, so it kind of makes up for this safe indie which is just comeback experience over and over again. And now we have to hit into the final team, but you can see the enemies, like, they have a level 13 Leafeon now, they have a level 12 Delphox. I'm just the same level as the enemy Leafeon now, which is just very unfortunate, because, you know, the game should have been probably a stomp, honestly, if you just keep one of the goals up, farm all of that. And also, if you leave a goal up, right, it still makes your opponents walk up. Like, they have to walk up for last hits, right? So often you can just farm your opponents and get KOs over and over again, as they still have to try and go for some of that experience. So it's also quite good to just leave a goal up. You know, opponents have to kind of walk up. They have to do something at some point. And if they go for last hits, you can still just farm them over and over again and get a huge, massive experience lead. And then you can get a nice overcap, right? When you get to a point, you're like, oh, now we can get 50 points in. The goal is at like 10. We get 40 additional points in. And you're like, yep, this is nice. You suddenly have a 2-3 level lead. The enemies had no time to farm back, and the game becomes super easy. This was actually such a nice play by the Blastoise. He was waiting for my Shadow Sneak and perfectly served Hydro Pump me. Honestly, that was very good by the Blastoise. Very difficult to deal with. He just literally perfectly served Hydro Pump me after my Shadow Sneak landed, and my full heal wasn't up. I really thought I waited even a long time before wanting to go in, but he just timed it so well that I had no chance. I was literally waiting out. And you can see this game got very competitive. But you would think, yeah, we broke both goals 3 minutes into the game. We are stomping the opponents, right? But you're not even stomping the opponents. You just broke the goals, which gives the enemy pretty much a free pass back into the game. And a lot of people don't realize this. And I've made a lot of videos about this. Again, I'm not too upset anymore if one goal gets broken a bit too early. But if both goals get broken and you can't really do anything with it, it becomes very frustrating. It still ended up, you know, we can see we ended up still winning this game, but not in a demanding fashion, I would say. Like, it was definitely still very losable, just out of this, I would say, macro mistake. So yeah, I would appreciate if all of you think a bit more about it. I think people who watch my videos, I think they mainly know that doing this is not a good idea. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was educational, and still ended up winning. But yeah, I feel like it could have been just much more dominant if you just play a bit different. See you guys in the next video. Bye!